Never a good sign. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Sorry I haven't posted in a while, but as you'll see, there's some good reasons for that. When I shot the last video over a month ago where there was finally some good weather and I was able to get the Cobra out, what I didn't tell you is that towards the end of that day, the Cobra started acting up. It started losing power, bucking, backfiring, behaving pretty sickly. So after pulling over and doing my best to troubleshoot the problem, the only option I had where I was to let the car cool down and see if that made a difference, because it was behaving almost like it was vapor locking. Sure enough, once the car cooled down, it ran again, and it seemed to be okay until I got about 20 miles down the road closer to home, and the symptoms reoccurred. It started bucking, losing power, backfiring again. So I contacted Joe's Garage, the folks who built the car, to start talking through what could possibly be going wrong. And what we thought was it was possible that I had some bad gas. So at next opportunity, I put some dry gas in the tank. I filled the tank with fresh gas from a different pump. And the car seemed to run fine for about an hour. And then it started doing it again. Now this was a Sunday evening. The sun was going down. So while I was waiting for the car to cool down so that I could limp it the next couple of miles back to my house, I sent an email to Joe's Garage just to get on their radar for Monday so that, we could start talking through what else could this be. To Joe's credit, I got a call about 5 minutes later, and he stayed on the phone with me. We cranked the engine, we looked at the fuel pressure, realized we weren't getting any fuel pressure, and based on some noises I heard, a high-pitched screech that I heard right before it failed, we determined that it was the high-pressure fuel pump that had failed on the car. Not Joe's fault, just a bad part. It happens. I wasn't really all that upset about it. It's just one of those things that happens. So Joe immediately sent me a pump that he had bench tested to make sure it was good. He sent me the filters before and after the pump in the line to make sure that if the pump had actually sent any metal downstream that we got the filter out and replaced it. And then it came down to I had to wait for a combination of things, as it seems to be with this car. If you've seen the Why Did I Purchase video, I had to wait for good weather, I had to wait for mechanics availability, and I had to schedule a flatbed. So the mechanic I thought would be easy. This should have been about a 10-minute fix. The pump is actually installed right on the frame rail under the car. I considered fixing it myself. I just wasn't confident in being able to jack the car up safely. Even with the floor jack that I have, I just didn't want to twist the body. I didn't want to twist the windshield and risk doing some damage. So I actually had to call around to several local garages, and a lot of guys wouldn't touch it, which was a revelation to me. I kind of thought, hey, it's basic mechanics. It's simply replacing a fuel pump. How bad could this be? They just didn't want to touch it from a liability standpoint. I did eventually find a garage, MJ's, in Upper St. Clair, if you're in my area, and they decided to take it. But now we needed good weather. And as luck would have it with this car, it has been monsoon season in Pittsburgh. It's either raining or I'm traveling for work, or the car isn't running. So I've had a lot of bad luck trying to put miles on this car and enjoy it so far. So I had been on a business trip and was going to be leaving again the following Wednesday. So on Monday morning of this past week, I reached out to MJ's, and my thought was I'm just going to get it on the calendar and we'll roll the dice with the weather. Even if it's raining a bit, I could put the cockpit cover over it and get it down to them. And as luck would have it, they said, oh, we could actually get it in today if you'd like to bring it down. So I scrambled to get a hold of a flatbed driver. Guy was very accommodating and was an absolute surgeon with that truck that I'll show you in a few minutes. And we got the car down to, the garage. We got it up on the ramp and identified where the fuel pump was, identified where the filters were, and then I just headed home and waited for a call. A couple hours later, they called, said the car's done. Why don't you come on down and start it and let's see how it's doing. And it started initially, it ran a little rough, but we were thinking that maybe there's just some air in the fuel lines, or, some issue with repriming the system. And it seemed okay until I went to rev the engine. The moment I revved the engine, it died. And so we realized the problem's not solved. I was heading to California on Wednesday. This is now Monday late afternoon. They were going to have to keep the car till the next day and try to troubleshoot what was going on. They spent all day Tuesday, and I'm not saying they spent the entire day. Clearly they had other customers to take care of, but they did look at it on Tuesday. And they figured that it was most likely the lift pump, the low pressure pump, not the high pressure pump, that was failing. So they ordered a new pump from Napa Auto Parts, and it was going to come in the next day. And I was leaving for California. So then I had to coordinate, if the car was fixed, how was I going to get it home? I didn't want to pay another, $225 for a flatbed. So I actually elicited the help of my neighbor, Bud, who's a great guy, and probably the only guy on the planet I would trust to drive the car. My wife took him down once the car was fixed and drove him. He drove the car back to my house. So it turned out to be the low pressure fuel pump. We just diagnosed the wrong pump. That happens, not the end of the world. We were getting 10 PSI on the fuel gauge in the fuel system, the built-in one. And now we're getting 60 and the car runs like a champ. So, not the end of the world, although it's made it very difficult to actually get the car out. If there was a sunny Saturday available, I just couldn't drive the car because it wasn't repaired yet, and so I had to wait till I could get all of this coordinated. Couple of interesting things. You got to look at how this truck driver, this flatbed driver, put the car on the rack. He literally backed the truck up to the lift, put the trailing edge of his ramp onto the lift so that the car could very gently be rolled off of the truck directly onto the lift. That may not be spectacular to you, but that's a sign of a true pro. This guy was awesome. He was very careful with the car. And the fact that he was able to do that with his flatbed to make sure that the car didn't have to come off the ramp and then get pushed up onto the lift and risk potential damage given how low the car is. This guy was awesome. So I would use him anytime. The guys at the garage were great too, but unfortunately they had to invest a lot of time trying to figure out what was going on. So, this whole thing cost me $600, or actually with the tow about $800-900 when it was all said and done. Joe's has offered to, in previous conversations, to pay for it. I'm going to sort of give him a call and negotiate a lower thing. Life happens. It's a custom built car. Stuff's going to go wrong. If he can help me out with the parts that had to be bought for the low pressure fuel pump, I'd be happy with that, because honest to God, it's not his fault that the part failed. And I don't feel like sticking it to the guy. He's been very helpful. He spent a lot of time on the phone with the mechanics, troubleshooting. So he's been very helpful and extremely interested in making sure that I'm satisfied and that the car is running fine. So happy about that. Happy about the folks who helped me all around. So that's basically the story. It turned out to be a different fuel pump. Now it has 2 brand new fuel pumps in it. Can't go wrong with that. And it's running great. It's running like a champ. But it is still raining in Pittsburgh, as you can see by this 10-day forecast. So, it's it's a little bit of a struggle. I know it's first world problems, and you guys are playing the world's smallest violin for me right now. But I just haven't been able to drive the car. It's either been weather, mechanical, or both. Fortunately, we got the mechanical sorted, and now we can start taking a look at getting it out when the weather breaks. So, interestingly, when I was looking at the video that I shot from underneath the car, as I was trying to locate the pump and locate the filters, I spotted something on the low pressure fuel pump that I had not noticed when I was looking at it live. And you can see here that there actually is a little drip of what looks like oil coming off of the low pressure fuel pump. So there were signs. We just didn't pick up on them right away. So, something went wrong on the low pressure fuel pump. It would engage. It made all the right noises. It just wasn't pushing any fuel. Interestingly, I wish I had seen this when we were in the garage. I would have pointed that out. I don't think the mechanics saw it either. I think they just, they missed it as well. It's just a small little drop of what looks like oil, not fuel, dripping off of the pump. So, I know this isn't super exciting content. I know this isn't, hey, let's go drive the car. Let's get it into a car show, all that great stuff. That's coming. Next video will be a little bit of a cleanup of the car. It's filthy, between pollen and dust from being in the garage. I didn't cover it once it started getting dirty because I didn't want to scratch the paint. So it actually got dirtier, which is, I'm sure you're probably all screaming at me for that one. But I've got some stuff coming from Adams Polishes. Got a foam cannon, got all kinds of good stuff to take care of the car. So the next video, we're going to clean it up and we're going to take it for a drive. It is registered for a couple of events for the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. Just a couple, local car shows. So that'll be happening in July. We'll be getting some of those videos out, but hopefully long before that, we're showing a squeaky clean Cobra ripping down the road here in Pennsylvania in dry weather. That should be coming soon. So thanks for watching. Thanks for your patience. I know a lot of you subscribed to the channel and then nothing's been happening. And I just wanted to make sure you understood why. More to come. Thanks, guys. See ya.